All right, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Roy. We got Jesse back there behind the camera, of course Preston back there too. Yeah, but today we're going to make mulberry and forest pie. Yeah, with a lot of berries. We actually grew right here on the family tree farm. All kinds of red and black raspberries, mulberries, small selection there of blackberries as well. See, let's just get right into this. Of course, the first thing you want to do is preheat the oven. See, so let's preheat to 350. All right, so let's go ahead and spray down the pie pan here. We don't get the crust sticking. Get this thing awesome. There we go. Hope I'm not using too much there. All right, now time to put in the pie crust. The most important part there. All right, so let's put in the bottom part of our pie crust. All right, it's not always a perfect job here, but see what we can do. Of course, there's no right or wrong way of doing any of this stuff. It all depends how it comes out. All right, so the next step here, let's go ahead and make our berry mixture. So all the berries are going to end up in the bottom here. Let's go ahead and add them in here. Red and black raspberries. Super awesome looking. A little bit of flour there. 1 and 2. There we go. 1 cup of flour. All right, got our spoon here. Let's go ahead and stir up a little bit. Yeah, it's coming out super awesome. Red raspberries, black raspberries. And let's go ahead and add in, I think, the blackberries here. There we go. It's going to be super awesome. Mulberry-Forest Pie. All right. We did thaw most of these berries already, so they're stirring up really nice. Now we got to figure out how much sugar do you think we put in here today. We always try to go minimal on sugar. I'm going to start with a ½ cup right here. ½ cup of sugar. Sugar in the raw, or whatever kind of sugar you have at home. And experiment with this stuff. Oh man, this smells awesome. Can you imagine? It's gonna be a super awesome pie. Anybody can make this at home. Yeah, just look up a recipe or just follow this video right here. All right, so what do you think? Just dump this into our pie crust. And check this out. There we go. Super simple. I'm sure if other people out there have other ideas for making pies, leave comments below. Yeah, so let's get this leveled off there. Of course, you gotta be pretty careful with your utensils you're using during a pie like this. These little red berries like to leave stains on your countertops. All right, the most important part, of course, of the Mulberry-Forest Pie is the mulberry part. I don't know if anybody's ever used mulberries before at home, but the best way to use mulberries is to puree them. You know, you put them in the puree there, pour them over top. It helps eliminate the little tiny seed or the little tiny stem that we see there, plus all the moisture that builds up from the mulberry. And this is a great way to take care of it. So let's go ahead and blend up a mulberry puree. All right, let's add just a couple little spoonfuls of sugar to our puree mixture here. And again, we try to go minimal on the sugar, but gotta have at least a little bit in there, get it all going. And again, thanks for watching the video so far. The oven's finally preheated. And you're making a Mulberry-Forest Pie. Yeah. If If you have berries on your property, you can pick them fresh or go to the supermarket, get all this stuff. Alright, got ourselves some mulberry puree. So let's of course try to pour this over top of our raspberries and blackberries. Put a tiny bit of flour right on top there. Help soak up any fluids that might come through. Got some butter there. Yep, 4 tablespoons, half a stick of butter right there. Of course, I'm not a professional, so anybody have any other ideas, any ways to make this pie better? Leave comments below. Give us some hints out there. What else should we do cooking shows about? We've done shows about the full English breakfast so far. That was a good one. There you go. Got it melted up just enough there. I don't know, sometimes I just like to drizzle a little bit of butter over top of this mixture before we put our pie crust on there. Sprinkle a tiny bit of sugar there. And maybe one more little pinch of flour, and I think we're almost about ready to put our top of our pie crust in there. There we go. Yeah, so coming along nice. Mulberry-Forest Pie. Alright, here we go. Let's put the top part of the crust on here now. Sometimes the hardest part there. Yeah, just do your best with it. Make it look super awesome. Alright, and then you can even do the nice little design there. Super easy to do here, but make it look real professional right here. Alright, of course you want to cut some vent holes here right before we finish up here. Let's cut some little vent holes, slits. Let all the heat out of there. Of course, I'm going to add a splash of some vanilla creamer right there into the mix. Again, you can use any combination of any of this stuff. Check it out. And put some of this mixture on there to help keep it from burning too much. Get a nice golden brown surface. And maybe sprinkle a little bit of sugar around the crust there. That way even the crust and every part of it's all awesome and good. Again, going minimal on the sugar, but gotta use at least a little bit. But just to try to avoid any leakage or spillage there in the oven, I'm gonna put this pie dish right here on top of this pizza tray. In case anything comes off there, it'll catch it. Yeah, into the oven it goes. All right, looks like our pie's ready to go. So let's check it out, see if it's time to come out of the oven. Yep, super awesome. Nice dark crust there. Yeah, so I think this thing's done, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out here. There we go, smells awesome. You can imagine how good this pie smells right now. Of course, if you make some pies at home, post pictures, videos below, leave comments. Yeah, it came out awesome. As soon as this cools down, we're gonna give it a try. Again, we appreciate y'all watching here today, checking out our Mulberry-Forest Pie. All kinds of raspberries, blackberries in there. Most berries picked right here on our tree farm, right here in Northeast Ohio. So again, thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.